Oh, hi YouTube, Fujo here. We're going to be doing a full review of the entire Rise of Shadows card set, starting right now. We're going to be starting with, nope, not making me disappear. We're going to be starting with the neutrals. And we're going alphabetically through all of these. The neutrals and then all of the classes. And starting alphabetically, we have Arcane Servant, 2 mana, 2/3, neutral elemental. The elemental package probably isn't going to be super strong right now, but at the very least, this is a pack filler. So this is going to be something, I mean, the elemental synergy is kind of on the decline. We don't have Blaze Caller, we don't have, you know, Calamos, Servant of Calamos, all that stuff. But it's still a card, and if there does become more elemental synergy in the future, this is definitely one that might get included, but there's probably better stuff. Alright, up next, Arcane Watcher, 3 mana, 5/6 neutral, can't attack unless you have a spell damage. So this is one of those cool cards that I think we saw in one of the previews that somehow they didn't invite me to. And this works in Silence Priest, and I think we remember Purify was a hilarious card. This synergizes with a couple of the silences, and specifically pre-silences that we'll get to later on in the review. But this is actually a card that if that deck does become tier 3, tier 4, maybe tier 2 for a little while, and catches people off guard at the beginning of the expansion, I could see this card getting a little play. Next up, Archivist, Elysiana. 8 mana, 7/7, neutral legendary. Battlecry, discover 5 cards, replace your deck with 2 copies of each. This is awesome late game value. All of the infinite value generators in Hearthstone are basically disappearing. So this is going to be a big replacement for late game value generation. If you're nearly in Fatigue, if you're in Fatigue, if this is the last card in your deck, you're happy. This is probably not something you're going to want to play in the mid game unless it's very desperate. Otherwise, this is a very late game, you know, if your deck is built to go super late, ultra strong value. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if we do have a very control meta, which is at least the way things are set up to look right now. And let's be honest, aggro always finds a way. We'll play the meme. Now we have that posted earlier, so I'm not so sure in reality how much control and fatigue and all of that we can expect, but it's a fun card. Archmage Vargoth, we're already seeing this on the ladder. This one's a ton of fun. This one will probably live with Priest at the very least. We've seen some shenanigans with Mage where they have the quest, but that's obviously gone in a couple days now, so that's not something to worry about into the rotation. So yeah, this is something that definitely right now is going to probably live in Priest, unless people find other really cool things to do with it, and honestly, there is a lot of other cool stuff. But we'll see. This is probably a fringe card, and we all got it for free, so nothing wrong with testing this one out. Next up, 5 mana, 2/7 elemental. At the start of your turn, gain spell damage +2. It was kind of cool how it's at the start of your turn. Also, weirdly statted, 5 mana, 2/7. Not really good enough for the 5 mana. The elemental tag, again, we don't have that much, at least the synergy in the traditional sense that I think we're used to right now. But this card doesn't really excite me that much, to be perfectly honest. It's just kind of a card. Maybe people will find a better use for it. It's too high costing for 2 spell damage to do cool combos, which is what you're generally looking to do. Azurite Elemental, next up. Barista Lichen, Barista Lichen, depending how you want to pronounce it. We're going to get mad at me for my pronunciation. 5 mana, 4/5, legend neutral. The stats are weak, but the Battlecry, add a copy of each of your other Battlecry minions to your hand. Again, it's slow, so it's 5 mana, 4/5, get value. I think this is going to be a theme we're going to come back to a lot in the full review, that as much as, yes, that is going to be great for value, that only works if you can afford to play a 5 mana, 4/5. Because it's add copy, so it doesn't, like, you know, remove, it doesn't do any of that. But it's just kind of tough to be, and that's not super slow, like, it's still just a little bit worse than a Chillwind Yeti. So if we can afford to go just a little bit slow, this card will be good. Otherwise, I really don't see how it's going to work. Again, it can set up for some combos and all of that stuff. So we'll see how it works. But I'm not 100% sold on it yet. Just because, again, we're going to come back to, you know, what are you doing to the board right now? Speaking of doing things to the board, Rush. 8 mana, 3/12 Rush. So that stat line's reasonable. It has rush that's reasonable. And after this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. So it's just really clear the board. It's just clear the board, clear the board, clear the board. It's kind of cool. It's got some cool card art. That's good. I don't know. I think this is great for Arena. I don't see this in the ladder necessarily. For 8 mana, would probably want more than, you know, the 3 attack is holding it back. But if it had more than 3 attack, I think it'd probably be too powerful. So it's a cool concept. In Arena, it'll probably be strong. On the ladder, I don't see it getting played that much, to be honest. Big Bad Archmage is coming up next. 10 mana, 6/6. Not the greatest. However, at the end of your turn, summon a random 6-cost minion. So you're investing, you know, 6 mana, 6/6 effectively, just a little worse than a Boulder Fist Ogre. And then you get another 6 cost. So we can do the math. We could actually do the math now. It's a lot easier to do the math on 6 costing cards once you can do it in the in your actual collection in Hearthstone, as opposed to trying to do it on, you know, on websites and stuff like that. But we can do the math and see if this ends up being effective. I'm going to guess no, because there's always a bunch of, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 costs poorly statted minions. So we'll have to do the math on this one. My initial thought is just like, yeah, that's not going to be enough. Hey, Arlonian, how's it going? We're just going to go through every single card and talk about them real quick. 9 mana, 9/9 rush, Burly, a Shovel Fist. It's a pack filler. It probably won't see play. We've seen big cards like this before that don't see play, but it has rush, and I love seeing all this rush and not charge. That's fantastic. Obviously, charge still has a place, but I don't think this is much more than a pack filler necessarily. And now watch, this is the one that I'm completely wrong on. Chef Nomi, if your deck is empty, summon 6/6 Greasefire Elementals. If you have a deck that's built to go to fatigue, this is going to be incredible. I don't see this necessarily working, although there are a number of shuffle mechanics that maybe this can still work. In order to draw really fast, drop Chef Nomi, either bounce it back to your hand somehow, and then let's say you play the, what was that legendary? Elysiana, where you shuffle stuff back into. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, can this ever be played? Probably. I mean, 7 mana, fill the board with 6/6s. Yeah, that's incredible. But because of the requirement, I don't see it really working. Unless the meta is super slow. 8-bit Golden Khadgar, that's incredible. That's one card I want. 5 mana, 5/4 Divine Shield. Obviously, those are 4 mana stats. The Divine Shield being worth 1 mana, sure. I don't think this is going to get played. This is going to be probably solid in Arena. And this is just simply, I don't know. I don't see this. I don't see enough here, enough synergy. I mean, on its own, it's reasonably statted, but reasonably statted isn't enough in Hearthstone. You need to be doing something a little more than unreasonably statted. So I'm not seeing it. Dalaran, Librarian, silence adjacent minions. Hey, we just saw a minion earlier that needs to get silenced. Guess what? You can silence it with a 2 mana 2/3. And 2 mana 2/3 is reasonably statted. That's good stats. So if you need to play this early, you can. Although in a deck where you want to silence your minions, you obviously want that. It's a card if the silence decks work. If there's a lot of cards that have negative effects but need to be silenced, here's your neutral solution for the next 2 years, which is pretty cool. Dalaran, Librarian. Coming up is the Eccentric Scribe. 6 mana, 6/4. Bad stats. Death Rattle. Summon 4 1/1 Vengeful Scrolls. Interesting, because Death Rattles and stickiness is very good. With this rotation, I think these sort of effects could be a little bit more powerful, especially at the beginning as we're losing some of our AoE ability right off the bat. So this could actually be something. I don't see this one getting played again. Arena, sure. But on the ladder, I'm not seeing this because we're not seeing enough synergy with other things right off the bat. Cool concept, though. I very much like it. Eccentric. After Eccentric comes Ethereal Lackey. Hey, the lackeys. Hey, if I was better at doing these sort of card reviews, I would group all the lackeys together. Guess what? I'm not. Discover a spell. It's a good lackey. All the lackeys are basically good. 1 mana, 1/1. It's kind of stats. And Ethereal Lackey is, the Discover a Spell one. So that's good for basically all classes. Give us more spells. Why not? More value equals more better, in my opinion. So I like that one. Speaking of lackeys, Battle Cry, add a lackey to your hand. 2 mana, 1/1 beast. Interesting. But then add another lackey, so you just keep this like chain going, and then your next lackey discovers something else. So it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. It's very slow. It's poorly statted, so that's going to be a problem. I don't see it getting played. I feel like there are going to be significantly better ways to generate lackeys. I don't think this is going to be one of them. After Evil Cable Rat comes Exotic Mount Seller. That's cool. Good WoW reference for the mount selling NPC. 7 mana, 5/8. Weird stat line. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random 3-cost beast. Now we've seen... Now here's the thing. We've seen this sort of mechanic with the Vex Crow in Mage. So that's pretty cool. But the issue is this is 7 mana. Vex Crow's a lot cheaper, and then you coin an Arcane Missiles and like fill the board while clearing your opponents. This one's a lot more, but then you are getting a 3-cost beast. And it's a beast, so there's also extra beast synergy. I just don't see this working. See play. Just too slow. Whoops, don't change that one. Exotic Mount Seller. Next up, Faceless Lackey. 2 mana. Summon a random 2-cost minion. I like it. Again, all the lackeys are basically good because you're always getting random ones. And basically, no matter what situation you're in, it's always going to be a little bit of a challenge, that's for sure. But I kind of like all of them. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. This is obviously something they're pushing. They want to be having more lackeys in the future. So I'm excited to see how this works. And I mean, it's a 1 mana, 1/1, which is like whatever. That's kind of okay. It's kind of what you expect. And then you get a 2-drop, a random one. So maybe you get something cool like Cho or Millhouse Mana Storm. So we'll see. I like it. I'm excited for the lackeys. I don't know what type of lackey deck I want to build first, but I like it. Faceless Rager, 3 mana, 5/1, copy of friendly minion's health. Okay, so we've seen this, 3 mana, 5/1 stat line before. However, this one now copies a friendly minion's health, which is kind of cool. Again, it's silenceable. Silence, there isn't too much silence left in the Hearthstone universe, so there's that to consider. But overall, honestly, I mean, it'll never be as good. I mean, if you can ever get this off after like a Drake, but what are the chances you Drake on 4? It still has health, and then you play this on 3. It's kind of convoluted to make this actually work that well. I don't think it's gonna see too much play. Up next is the Flight Master. I was gonna say Fight Master. 3 mana, 3/4, so that's good stats. Battlecry, summon a 2/2 Griffin for each player. So that's kind of interesting because yes, you are getting, 5, 6 worth of stats, but then your opponent also gets a 2/2. So if you're able to trade into that 2/2, oof, then all of a sudden this is ridiculous. This in Arena could be, like, super strong. On the ladder, maybe, actually. On the ladder, this could very much see play, I think, in a more aggressive deck. I'll go out on a limb and say if you're a tempo-y style of deck and trying to flood out the board, yeah, I'll say this very much could see some play in a tempo-y style of deck. Just because if you're already trading with your opponent, this, you know what I mean? Yeah, this could be really, really strong. So I like it, is what I'm saying. Up next, Goblin Lackey, another Lackey. We all like him. Archmage, Griffin is a beast. Yeah, that's true. Oh, and it annoys Resurrect Priest. Good call on that one. So yeah, back to the Lackey. I like it. 1 mana, 1/1 lackeys. Can't complain about that. Give a friendly minion +1 attack and rush. Solid. All the lackeys seem like they're going to be fun and situationally very good. I like this one as well. Up next, the Greasefire Elemental. 6 mana, 6/6 Elemental. It looks like this comes from the, what's that thing called? What is that thing that we just talked about? Nomi. So that's going to be kind of, that's where we're going to see this. So that's cool. After the Greasefire, where are you, Greasefire? Up next, oh my goodness, this is one of the greater... This is definitely one of the greater cards we're going to see in this expansion. Hey, how's it going, Ice? I'm doing very well. I'm excited to be going through these cards right now. I'm gonna have to edit a bunch of this talking out here, but that's it. Okay. Okay, so Hecklebot. Hecklebot is going to be super cool for combo disruption, battle cry. Your opponent summons a minion from their deck. So this is Dirty Rat used to be 2 mana, 2/6 taunt battle cry. Your opponent summons a minion from their hand. So if you knew they were holding Mecha'thun, guess what? You play the Dirty Rat, destroy Mecha'thun, you win. This way, if Mecha'thun is still in their deck, you pull it, polymorph it, kill it however you need to, and then you still win. So this is kind of cool. This is very good. More combo disruption, the more better, in my opinion. I'm very excited for this, and because it's a mech, it'll fit in some mech warrior shenanigans. Up next, the Hench Clan Hag. Summon 2/1/1 Emaglammaglams, which have all minion types, obviously. So we already had Hench Clan Thug, and now we have the Hench Clan Hag. It's 4 mana, 5/5. It's spread out a little. We've seen this sort of 4 mana summon some 1/1 tokens before. I don't see it getting played. I don't know how much synergy we have right now with having all minion types being summoned. Probably in the future this could be something, though. But I'm assuming we can get those minion types other ways, so this might be a pack filler and a dust. And a dust for me. Next up, the 2 mana 1/1 Beast Hench Clan Hogsteed. Rush, Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Murloc. It's a 2/1 rush, so it's 2 mana, deal 2 damage, which is kind of okay. There's probably better ways to fight the board, but it is a Murloc, which is interesting because there's a lot of Murloc stuff going on right now. I don't know how much real Murloc synergy there is, but there's a lot of Murloc stuff going on. So this one's kind of interesting. We'll see a lot of Murloc Shaman stuff, which is actually upsetting me. Hogsteed comes up next for the sneak. 3 mana, 3/3 stealth. Sneezy, any good mage legends? You're looking at him. 3 mana, 3/3 Hench Clan Sneak is... It's a stealth minion. I don't know. Maybe this is something that gets played. But I don't know what for. There's already other stealth minions if all you want is the stealth. The stat line, I mean, sure, it's almost good enough to be on curve. To be played on curve, I should say, but I don't see this one doing... Although, maybe because you can just play it early and then just use it to trade or trade up a little if you... I don't see it, though. Heroic Innkeeper, 8 mana, 4/4. Sneezy, we've only... And to answer your question seriously, though, we've only done the... we have only done the neutrals. We're only going through the neutrals now. So we haven't done the mages yet. 8 mana, 4/4, Taunt Battlecry, gain +2/+2 for each other friendly minion. It's cool. It's interesting. I mean, you need what? You need at least 2 minions to get 8/8 Taunt. So that's a little challenging. And then how much more can you honestly expect? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be ways to flood the board for cheap. I just don't see it. It's silenceable. There's... I think there's it's really cool. Same way with Osric, where you can get some really big high you can get some really cool looking like high health and big statted minion. I think it's too situational, too hard to pull off with any with enough consistency for what we need on the ladder. And the interesting combo breaker here. Ice, yeah, I think who was yeah, 8-bit, I think, is at Fireside right now, opening packs. I think there are packs getting opened right now. Not by me. I did not go to any Fireside. We're just doing this just for... You doing it at your house? Nice. Okay, Geppetto, the 8 mana 6/6 neutral legendary battlecry. Draw 2 minions from your deck, set their attack and health and cost to 1. So this is a real combo setter. Like, if you draw Malagos and Velen and set them both cost to 1, you can do really, really big damage. Obviously, there's a requirement that you draw this first, but there are some classes that can then do shuffling. Let's say you're Rogue, So there's a lot of stuff that you can do that is going to be very, very scary with this card. If there are going to be combos in Hearthstone right now, I think this might be a bit of an activator, to be perfectly honest. It'll be interesting, though. It'll be interesting to see what happens. 8 mana 6/6. The stat line's obviously poor, but you're not really too worried about that when you're trying to set up, you know, a win the next turn. Hey, it's another lackey. 1 mana, deal 2 damage, and you get a 1/1 body. It's a lackey. We love the lackeys. They're solid. They're good. Nothing wrong with that. Still don't know how we're going to play this lackey or any of the others. Probably Rogue right now. I think Rogue. But that's okay. This is a funny card. 6 mana, 4/4. Fill each player's board with 1/1 imps. Yeah, it's Whizbang's Nemesis. Absolutely. This is interesting. Again, we've talked about disrupting Resurrect Priests pools. This is a board full of 1/1 imps. So with, you know, you have 6 mana. You will probably be able to trade off some of your opponent's board with some of your, or remove them, I should say. It's kind of interesting. I'm very excited to see what people do with this. I think this could be a thing. The issue is because they're demons, you can't have that, like, the demon synergy of demon removal in Wild or anything like that. So I kind of like this. It's going to be cool. It's 6 mana, fill the board. I like it. I don't know that it's going to get played, but I'm excited to see what people try and do with it. Magic Carpet, 3 mana, 1/6. So really weirdly statted. After you play a 1-cost minion, give it +1 attack and rush. So you basically leave your Magic Carpet, and then your other minions do stuff. This has always been a really tough thing to pull off. Like, Drakari Enchanter was a really cool ability, but this is just, at least, it's a little better statted than Drakari Enchanter. And then your 1-attack minions, so maybe this is, maybe you can play one in some sort of aggro-y mid-range Paladin, aggro-y mid-range Hunter. Although I think there's probably other stuff you'd rather be doing at 3 mana. Like on Curve, I don't think you want this. So this one's kind of tough. It's a really cool effect. It's a very unique effect, so I like it. But I just don't see it right now. Speaking about unique... yeah, so close for Quest Hunter, that's true. 2 mana, 0/6, spell damage +1. Mana Reservoir. If you want to be doing buffing of your own minions, this is cool. It's a big way to sit +1 spell damage. That's more stats than, more health at least, than you normally see on 2 mana. Even just more stats overall. 6 is a lot. So that's kind of interesting. Again, the elemental synergy is a lot different now than it was after, when, well, let's say Ungoro elemental synergy, really. It's really cool, though. I'd be excited to see what people can do with this. I don't think it sees play, but it's really cool. All right, the 4 mana, 5/2, Demon Neutral, Portal Keeper, battle card, shuffle 3 portals into your deck. When draw, summon a 2/2 demon with rush. So this is a long-term investment. This is a long-term investment in order to gain some rush minions. 4 mana, 5/2, obviously very poorly statted. But that's okay, because then you're investing, and again, we've talked about this. If we live in a world where we're able to do very slow things, this is cool. The issue is, if we're going to be playing a really long game, why not just play something that's higher costed and will give us more value in the long run? So I'm not sure that this really works. Like, if this also was able to do some rush stuff itself, then sure. But the way it is now, I think we'd probably... This only lives in a slower meta. And if we're in a slower meta, why not just do something else? And another demon. So this is actually kind of cool. We're seeing some demons here. 6 mana, 5/6 demon. Battlecry, shuffle 3 portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a 2/2 demon with rush. Okay, so we've kind of just seen this. It's a really cool idea. Again, I'm just now, this is at least slightly better, you know, better statted at least. Still loses to Boulder Fist Ogre. But it's cool. We'll see. Maybe these 2/2 demons with rush are going to be stronger than I thought. But Again, I'm not seeing how this lives in a non-slow meta world. And if we're in that slow meta world, I would probably rather do other stuff. And hey, it's a potion vendor. 1 mana, 1/1, Battlecry, restore 2 health to all friendly minions. We've seen some AoE heals before in Hearthstone. This is another one. So that's good, I guess. I think the real abuser of this is rotating, if I'm not mistaken. So Zoo isn't going to be super, super explosive right now, until people find the next explosive thing to do with Zoo. But this is also cool. We'll talk about Druid in a little, because Druid has some healing synergy that I was surprised when I went through the cards quickly earlier. But this is kind of cool. Maybe it survives in that deck. Otherwise, I don't see it doing too much. This one I think we saw in some of the preview streams. 4 mana 2/6 taunt, has +2 attack while you have no other minions. So this is kind of like the what's a Righteous Defender? The 3 mana 2/4? I don't need any of you. The 2 mana 2/4 taunt Battlecry if it's if it's the only one on the board. So this is kind of the same way, except it's a persistent effect where you gain and lose the +2 attack, so you can like trade stuff off or make a trade first and then play other minions. Lone Champion, thank you, Arlonian. You all knew what I meant when I said the quote. But it's kind of cool like that. It's better than Taz Dingo if you're just playing it on curve and you're trading stuff off. So I think this, because we're losing Stonehill, maybe we'll see something like this, but we still need something earlier. This doesn't replace Tar Creeper, because Tar Creeper's on turn 3, and going against aggro, turn 3 and 4 are very different. I'd love to live in a world where this is playable. 5 mana 3/6 Recurring Villain. Death Rattle, if this minion has 4 or more attack, resummon it. So this is really cool. If you can buff this up, maybe with a Lackey, maybe with Defender of Argus, maybe with what's that one? The Dark Iron Dwarf. You get to resummon a minion, so it's huge value for sure if you're able to get that Death Rattle to trigger. The challenge is then, how do you build a deck that allows you to actually trigger that Death Rattle with consistency? Or even if not with consistency, just enough. And then the question is a 5 mana 3/6, which is statted at 4 mana, is that going to be enough in your deck to not take away if you can't trigger this Death Rattle? Because I think if you trigger it and you're trading, it's good. But if it doesn't trigger, then it's probably bad. So the question is going to be, how consistent can you trigger this? And right now I would say not enough. Safeguard. This is a cool looking card that I don't think sees play. 4 mana, 6 mana 4/5. So that's Taz Dingo. 2 extra mana, taunt, Death Rattle, summon a 0/5 vault safe with taunt. It's cool. I don't think it's enough. I mean, this will be something that we might honestly go ahead and discover when we're playing as Dr. Boom and Warrior. I was gonna say Odd Warrior, but it'll just be straight up Control Warrior, Control Mech Warrior. Maybe it'll be Dragon and just run a couple mechs. I think that's the only way this really gets played, I think, is if we're discovering it off of Dr. Boom's Battlecry. What is up next? Ooh, Soldier of Fortune. I wonder what that's a reference to. We need to check the wording on this to see what their reference here. 4 mana 5/6, so that's really good stats. Whenever this minion attacks, give your opponent a coin. Well, what do you know? A strongly statted minion, forget the fact that it's elemental, because I don't see how much that matters now. Next expansion, 2 expansions, next rotation, maybe. This card's around for a long time, remember. This also is strongly statted, negative effect, but we have a lot of silences in the game right now, and we'll talk about more in Priest, aside from just that 2 mana 2/3. This is definitely a thing that can be causing problems on the ladder. I could definitely see a bunch of people, myself included, trying out some Silence Priest day 1, just because it looks fun, if nothing else. And I think people will have a hard time with big minions, especially in the first couple days. Big slow minions in the first couple days. 2 mana 3/2. Hey, we haven't seen any of those in a while. Spellbook Binder, neutral, common. Battlecry, if you have spell damage, draw a card. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure necessarily how much we love this in terms of consistently drawing, and because of that, maybe it's just pack filler. Spellword Jeweler. I actually misquote. I need to make a correction on myself. The first time we saw this was on the reveal stream. I was very excited. I did that live interactive review of it live, and when I saw this, I didn't realize it was Battle Cry. Your hero can't be targeted by spells or hero powers until your next turn, which is great for disrupting combos. I thought it was a persistent effect, and I thought it's really easy to remove this and still hit a combo on your face position. But this is a Battle Cry. This might see play depending on how the combos work. I'd probably run different combo disruption. Again, that's going to really come down to what are the combo decks and how do we want to protect ourselves depending on what people are doing on the ladder. So this is a very, and it well, strongly statted, very much could be seeing some play. Sunreaver Spy, 2 mana, 2/3. If you control a secret, gain +1/+1. Uh-oh, Secret Paladin. Secret Paladin, everyone. Yeah, that might be a thing. That might be a thing again. You can definitely play a secret on 1, play this on 2, and then all of a sudden you're in trouble. Does this work in Priest? Or, I mean, yeah, in Priest. The Secret Priest. Secret Mage? Maybe. But I really see it in Paladin. People are going to be testing this out day 1. This is going to be the new attempt of aggro. Aggro Secret Priest. After the Spy, we have a Sunreaver War Mage. 5 mana, 4/4. Boo. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, deal 4 damage. Very strong. I wonder if we would have played this in Big Spell Mage. I wonder if this would have been good enough to play in Big Spell Mage. I really like this card. It seems really cool. We've had these, reasonably, slightly poorly statted minions, but they have a situational battle cry of dealing damage, and they've worked out kind of in the past. This might kind of work out in the future. Ice, that's a good point, and honestly, that was something I was going to bring up with some of the class cards. That's more pronounced there, but this is a good point. This is not limited to minion. This is not deal 4 damage to a minion. This is deal 4 damage, so it can go face. And in Big Spell Mage, I think we would have found space for that, because there were definitely times when we had our opponent within that 10 to 1 hit point range and could do nothing about it. Well, 10 to 2, because at 1 we still ping. Yes, that's a good point, and that was something I wanted to talk about with the, but it's very important to talk about here as well. 1 mana, 1/2 Murloc, give a friendly Murloc poisonous. Toxfin, I like it. It's a cute name. If Murlocs are a thing, they very likely run this because you flood the board with a bunch of Murlocs you don't care about. I drop one of my big taunts, that big 4 mana, 4/6 taunt. And then, a 1/1 poisonous Murloc takes it out, and I'm still taking a bunch of face damage. So if Murloc stuff is a thing, that's going to be part of it. 4 mana, Divine Shield, 3/2, restore 3 health. Very, there's a lot going on there. Maybe. Just because, what do we have? We have 3 mana, 3/1 Divine Shield already in the Scarlet Crusader in the classic or basic set. And now you have 1 extra mana for 1 extra health and restoring 3 health. I don't know. I maybe only in Druid, because there's weird healing synergy now in Druid, which I don't know. There's just so much on the card that I feel like maybe the 4 mana makes it too slow. Maybe at 4 mana we just need more. Forgetting the fact that the amount that it can do is probably worth 4 mana. It just probably doesn't fit. Next up, 7 mana, 3/7 taunt neutral. Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to all minions. If this doesn't get silenced, it's great. You've stabilized at some point. You're playing Odd Paladin. Oh, wait. You're playing some sort of other aggro. You're kind of fighting in the mid game. Then you drop this on 7 as they're trying to fill the board for the 2nd or 3rd time. And then this has 1 more Death Rattle to clear the board. You're obviously using this defensively to clear out your opponent's stuffs. And if it doesn't get silenced, it's going to be very effective. I don't necessarily see it being run because it's so singularly useful. Maybe it could be a one of if the meta is very aggressive, but otherwise I'm not seeing it. 7 mana, 3/5. After this minion survives damage, summon a copy of it. Very cool. You can ping this, you can backstab this. You can do a bunch of stuff to this. And it's also a great reference to Dalaran in the Underbelly. The ooze, I think the ooze, there were oozes that did spawn underneath there when you're trying to PvP and do stuff like that, so that's super cool. I'm a sucker for some WoW lore getting thrown into Hearthstone. I dig it. I like it. I don't know that this card gets played, but I like it. And in probably an arena. Again, we're going to go arena, the thing we'd never play ourselves. 6 mana, 5/6. Not the greatest stats, but still kind of strong. Your opponent casts a random spell from their hand. And again, this is for combo disruption. Just to, if you know your opponent's holding whatever it is that they're holding, whatever the combos end up being, guess what? Let's have them play a Mind Blast before they drop Malagos and Velen for 1 mana. Let's have them just deal 5 damage to our face. We can probably survive that. Whatever the heck the combo ends up being. Pretty cool. On to the next one. We're almost out of neutral cards. Violet Spell Sword. Battlecry. Gain +1 attack for each spell in your hand. It's tough, because if you're going to build a deck that's going to have a lot of spells, are you then going to want some sort of mid-game... Like, what do you need? You need 3 spells in hand at least for this to be a 4 mana 4/6. Because 4 mana 3/6, I'd play Water Elemental instead. So this needs to be at least 4 mana 4/6, means at least you're holding 3 spells. It could be tough to pull off. I mean, it'd be cool because you can potentially get a 4 mana 4/6 on curve. I'm just not necessarily sold on it. Cool concept. I really do like it though. Second last neutral. 6 mana 4/7 taunt, spell damage +1. Hey, let's throw a bunch of stats onto a weirdly... Hey, don't we already have a minion like this? Isn't there like a classic minion that doesn't have taunt? I don't think this is going to be enough to put it over the top to allow it to be played. Spell damage on expensive minions is just not good enough. Like, you need something like Blood Mage Thalnos so you can drop that and Flame Strike the same turn. Yeah, exactly. It's Archmage with taunt. 100%. I don't think this is enough to get it played, but that's okay. Hey, and we're ending with a Lackey. It's the Evolve Lackey. This is my favorite Lackey, just so we're clear. 1 mana, 1/1, Battlecry. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more. It's fun, if nothing else. I love the Evolve effects. We're going to probably do some more evolving with our Shaman before the end of this expansion, just because it's really fun. I don't know that this is going to be the most powerful one, because some of the other ones are, dealing damage, discovering a spell, which is great value, and, buffing attack and rush is also very useful. But I really like the Evolve effect, so I'm going to say this one's going to be fantastic. Okay, let's get into the class cards that are now going to be coming out, Rise of Shadows. We're going to start with Druid, because, like I said, alphabetical, why not? Blessing of the Ancients, Twin Spell, we've seen Twin Spells. 3 mana, give your minions +1/+1. It's not quite a Savage Roar, but if there's going to be tokens, this will probably get used, because you can buff once, hold it back, is there no board clear, buff again, attack some face. Kind of cool. Token Druid has never really been my thing, so I'm not going to be super excited to play it, but I could see it getting played. This is very interesting. Crystal Power, I was going to say Crystal Song Power, but that's not what it reads. Crystal Power. Choose 1, deal 2 damage to a minion, not face, or restore 5 health. So this is a little bit more limited than the previous 1 mana, deal 2 damage, summon the 1/1s. But it also has restoring health, which is at first strange when I saw this card. Like, why does Druid care about restoring health? Just give us more armor. But the interesting thing here is that Druid has a bunch of healing synergy that we're going to be taking a look at. So I think this might actually get played, because it's also good, like, remove your early opponent's stuff, or heal late game for value. Hey, I just got kicked out of Hearthstone because I haven't been doing anything this whole time. Crystal Song Power, 2 mana. Discover a Druid minion. If your hand has no minions, keep all 3. This is interesting, and again, for late game value, this is pretty strong late game value, I would argue. I would tend to argue this is fairly reasonable, fairly strong. I can almost see this getting played. And you might be able to get to a point, even if you're playing, let's say, like, some sort of weird healed druid, and we'll talk about how healed druid might be a thing. But you could potentially maybe do this, and then, like, dump your big minions over a couple turns, and then refill your hand. I don't know. I feel like this could be a thing, just because it's potentially really good value. Nope, that is literally the card we're looking at right now. Next up, 5 mana, 4/4 Beast. That's okay with Rush. Battlecry, if you've restored 5 health this game at any point, summon a copy. So that's 5 mana, 8/8 rushing. That is strong, and this is now discoverable with that previous spell. And all you have to do is restore 5 health, which kind of easy for Druid right now, which is a strange thing to say, because Druid used to be like Odd Warrior, where it's just like armor, armor, armor. Apparently now also healing, so that's going to be interesting. Up next, in the Druids, the Dreamway Guardian. Summon 2 1/2 Dryads with Lifesteal. Sure, it's 2 mana, 2/4 Lifesteal. If you're building a wide board, if you're doing token stuff, you want to build this board, then buff it up. We're already seeing the tools to build that package, so it's kind of cool. It's just really not my thing. However, this is a really cool one. We've seen Fandral before, where you get both of your choose one effects. This one's different. This one's more value-based, I would say. After you cast a choose one, add copies of both choices to your hand. So you cast Wrath, and you're getting both the deal 1 damage draw and a 3. Deal 3 damage to your hand. In addition to whatever you've just already cast. Whichever of the choices you've chosen, you get both. Very, very cool. I think this is pretty cool, and I think this is going to be run in a lot of Druid decks, just like Fandral was, because it was so versatile. No matter what's happening, you're getting good value from this. As long as you cast one thing with it, it's probably okay. And if you're going up against aggro, 2 mana, 2/3 still reasonable stats that you just drop it against aggro and hope you survive anyways. So I think that's kind of cool. Lifeweaver. 3 mana, 2/5. Whenever you restore health, add a random druid spell to your hand. At first when I saw this card, I was like, why? But now we're seeing so much healing. Again, 3 mana, 2/5 is just weirdly... This is just weirdly statted. It doesn't work as well as the 2 mana, 2/3 does on its own. If this is only working for the combo, I don't think it's enough, and therefore I don't think it's enough. Hey, Loosened Bark. 8 mana, 4/8 Taunt. Death Rattle, go dormant, restore 5 health, awaken this minion. Very interesting. Very interesting. We've seen the dormant mechanic before with, what's that thing called? Sherazine. So this one's kind of cool. Maybe it works. I'd love to see it work. It's legendary, so I mean it gets silenced and you feel bad. But there's a lot of healing. There's a bunch of healing options right now. Okay, now this is one of the first card. That's exit. Yeah, it is very slow. It is very slow. 8 mana, summon 5, 2/2. And it's twin spell. And this was the first twin spell that we saw, right? Like, hey, 8 mana, summon 10/10 worth of stats, and do it again next turn. So in that way, this is like the real finisher that, you know, that token druid is gonna have, right? Like if you have both of these in your hand, that's 4 turns that your opponent's gonna have to be clearing your board. Otherwise, they're gonna Savage Roar them. You're gonna do all the buffs hitting them. If token druid is a thing, this almost certainly is going to be a thing. And then just to let you know what the trends look like, there we go. And that's all the druid cards. And now we're moving on over to Hunter, alphabetical order. Arcane Fletcher, 4 mana, 3/3. Whenever you play a 1/1 cost minion, draw a spell from your deck. Talking about being too slow, the 4 mana slot, meaning you're doing this on 5 or 6. So it's going to be like 4 mana 3/3, then like 2 mana worth of 2/2s, but it'll beat you like a 1 mana 1/1 followed by another 1 mana 1/1. It's not the biggest turn except for the fact that you might be top decking some kill commands. And if that's your last push that you need, depending how close Hunter gets now to finishing off opponents. If Hunter's able to do enough damage in the first 5-6 turns, that all they need is an extra couple, a kill command and something else. This is how you do that. So this card could be very terrifying in the future. Up next, copy all beasts in your hand. Hunting Party, 5 mana rare. I don't see it. The only way this works is if it's run as a one of, because look, 5 mana do nothing on the board is not good enough. That's what this card says. Do nothing. So the only way this works is in a super control deck, and you're already going to have a reasonable board state, but if you already have a reasonable board state, why not put more on the board, put some pressure, do some secrets, do something. This probably only works as a one of in a deck that also runs Zul Jin, but also has like a balance between minions and spells. And I don't know. I think that there's too much. It'll be a one of at most, but probably a 0 of. Things that'll probably not be a 0 of is 9 lives, 3 mana rare. Discover a friendly Death Rattle minion that died this game. Trigger its Death Rattle. Ooh, this is going to be good. At very minimum, you're doing Savannah Highmane. You're going to cast 9 lives and also drop a Savannah Highmane. That's very good. I think there are some mech Death Rattles that we're about to talk about that are also going to be very good. So this one is potentially super powerful. Maybe there is some sort of, hybrid spell, mid-range Zul Jin deck that works, and this is going to be a part of it. Speaking of Death Rattles, Death Rattle, summon a mech from your hand and trigger its Death Rattle. So you hit 9 lives on this, and then also play this on the same turn. Now obviously 6 mana 3/4 is weak, but this Death Rattle is real powerful. And you trigger this Death Rattle, so you're pulling another mech from your hand, and then you're playing this as well to pull it. Like, there's a lot going on here. Admittedly, this is very slow, and I think Hunter's losing a lot of its Death Rattle triggers in this rotation. So this could be maybe too slow, but I think this combo could be a little bit scary, and I like it. I like it. Speaking of things that I like, 1 mana, twin spell, deal 1 damage. Simple, straightforward. And this is deal 1 damage to face, deal 1 damage to minions. Versatile, why not? Let Zul Jin cast these at random targets, why not? What's up next? Shimmerfly. We've also seen things like this before in Hearthstone. 1 mana, 1/1 beast. Normally we've seen Battle Cry add a random hunter spell. We've seen the Shaman has a 0/1 taunt, add a Shaman spell. So we've seen these sort of effects where there's 1 mana, 1/1s, generate some spell, generate a beast, generate a minion. And here's another one, except this one's Death Rattle. So it's not as fast to your hand. Your opponent has to play this and then wait a turn before they get it. Well, I'm assuming your opponent, I don't play a lot of Hunter. So kind of cool. Maybe gets play. It's still a beast, so it still triggers our kill commands. Unleash the Beast. Twin spell, summon a 5/5 Wyvern with Rush. 6 mana 5/5 isn't good enough, but the fact that you get 2 of them for the cost of 1 spot in your deck, pretty good. And then it also is nice with Zul Jin because you get a couple of these with Zul Jin instead of your Spellstones now. And then you're able to clear the board as much as load up a couple secrets. So kind of cool. Kind of cool. Might get played probably one of, at least in a Zul Jin deck. You probably want one of these minimum, I would argue. Ursatron, Death Rattle. Draw a mech from your deck. Hey, guess what? There's going to be some mech hunters coming around on Tuesday. And this is going to be a card you're going to see in the early game. 3 mana, 3/3 is almost good enough stats. But that Death Rattle, draw a mech. If it's that legendary, all of a sudden you get these chain of events that we're talking about. I like it. It'll probably see play. Verisa, Windrunner. Equip this weapon that no one can pronounce. The Star's Fury. Star's Fury has this weird spell power thing. I'm gonna say no. I'm saying this card is not good enough. 7 mana, 5/6. I know you get the weapon on the same turn, but it's gonna be hard to do all of that. Then you already need a beast for your kill command to be active to get the real benefit of spell power. I'm saying no. I'm saying no hard, and I'm probably gonna be super wrong, but that's okay. We're taking our bold stance right here. We're moving on to mage cards. I should have taken a drink of water, but we'll keep pushing through. 3 mana, Conjurer's Calling, twin spell, destroy a minion, summon 2 minions of the same cost to replace it. This, thematically, wow, that's a big word, should be Warlock, right? Doesn't this make sense that destroy a minion, then replace 2? Like, it's really cheap removal, but there's that negative effect. Even like the art, like it's ripping it, like this person apart. It seems like it should be a Warlock card. I don't think I would want to run this necessarily. There's definitely a destroy a minion. Maybe if Cube Mage becomes a thing. I know it's rotating. I don't see a super great use for this. And the thing is, we have seen a bunch of different spells like this in Hearthstone where there's like, you know, it's cheap removal, but then there's like something negative to come along with it. So maybe that's why people would run it. I don't know. One thing I really do want to be running, however, 10 mana, 4/12 Dragon. Year of the Dragon, Year of the Caligos. The first spell each turn costs 0. Battlecry, Discover, Flame Strike. So that's pretty good. I cannot wait to play this on the first day and throughout the first month, and we'll find out if it's too slow, if it's exactly what Mage needs. I'm excited for this one. I'm very excited for this one. It's gonna be cool. I like the idea of it. I love the idea behind it. Not sure if it's gonna be enough, but I really hope it is, because it looks fun. Speaking of legendaries that we want to get, Khadgar, 2 mana, 2/2. I can't give him 1 extra health. Come on, it's Khadgar. Your cards that summon minions summon twice as many. Astromancer. And we're going to see some more in Mage. This is actually a really cool synergistic card. The issue is it doesn't survive on its own like the Druid legendary does, which is kind of annoying. But that's okay. We'll get to Khadgar synergies in a minute. Kirin Tor Tricaster. 4 mana, 3/3. Spell damage +3, but spells cost 1 more. Which is kind of cool. This is a very interesting trade-off, and I kind of hope that Hearthstone goes into this direction. Now I know I don't have any of my MTG cards here, but we've talked about this before, how MTG text, I know you can't see my mouse either, but sometimes MTG text on cards gets super long. On the digital version, you literally need your mouse wheel to like scroll because there's so much text. But this is simple and very cool. And there's a lot to this because you get a lot of spell damage, but now even your arcane missiles cost 2, but then they deal 6, so it's like you can't combo this as well. But if you already have high mana, I really like this. I really like the idea behind this card, and I could see this getting played, just because you save it till you have a little bit more mana and you get a huge benefit. Magic Dart Frog. Who doesn't love a good Dart Frog? 2 mana, 1/3 Beast. Sweet. Mana Worm, eat your heart out. After you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion. Hey, Flame Waker, welcome back. Welcome back to Standard. Except it's enemy minion, not going face. So this is, that's okay. That's the only difference, whereas Flame Wakers would be able to go face and cause a little bit of aggro damage as well. This one's only board control, which is fine. The fact that we are going a little bit more board-centric and less face-centric. Oh, wow, Magic. I can do that one, can't I? How does that one work? I think I can do that trick, can't I? Magic trick. Discover a spell that costs 3 or less. I kind of like this. I think this card is kind of cool. It's, you know, it's Discover. It's flexibility. It's, do you need a Frost Nova or do you need a Frost Bolt? It's, there's a bit of cool, yeah, there's flexibility there. Both Mage and Priest need that flexibility, I think. And this is a good option for Mage. Probably one of, if not two of, depending on what type of decks we're running here. 2 mana 2/2 elemental, mana cyclone. Battle cry for each spell you've cast this turn, add a random mage spell to your hand. Great value generator. Obviously you don't necessarily want to be running this on you know, on curve. Maybe you coin this out on turn 1 just to get a random mage spell, but ideally I'm assuming you combo this with a bunch of smaller spells in the mid to late game and then refill your hand and you don't feel bad about the value loss. So it's kind of cool that way. I kind of like it. I look forward to running this. Messenger Raven, discover a mage minion. We've already talked about this one. This is Cabal Courier, except it's only mage minions, and we have a bunch of cool mage minions now getting added to the game. So I like it, and maybe you get Antonitis, and then you just LOL yourself. I like this game a lot. Or like this game. I do like this game a lot. I like that card a lot as well. And now this is the #1 synergy, I think, with Khadgar. What did we say? Conjurer's Calling synergizes with... Yeah, I agree, but yeah, Power of Creation's the one, right? You drop Khadgar, you drop Power of Creation, and all of a sudden, this is discover a 6-cost, summon 2 copies of Sylvanas. Now you get 3 copies of Sylvanas. Even better. I know, Hall of Fame, but still, you get something equivalent. You know what? Even if you're getting 3 Boulder Fist Ogres, guess what? That's real powerful. And another twin spell for Mage. 1 mana, freeze a minion. If it's already frozen, deal 2 damage to it. Fantastic. You can do that all on 1 turn. You can freeze multiple minions. Maybe you've already Blizzarded. Maybe you Frost Nova'd. Very cool, very flexible. I like it. 3 mana, 3/2 dragon. Death Rattle, add 2 4/4 dragons to your hand. Slow. Slightly understated for where it's at in mana. At least a 3 mana 3/3 would probably be needed. We know why. We're going to talk about in a second why Paladin wants stuff in their hand. I don't love this card, but we'll see. 3 mana, Call to Adventure. Draw the lowest cost minion from your deck. Give it +2/+2. That's not the worst. That's not the worst card in Paladin, because even if, like, Argent Squire becomes a 1 mana 3/3 Divine Shield, that's pretty good. That's pretty playable. We'll see. If aggro Paladin's a thing, they're probably running one of these. If there's some sort of mid-range Paladin, they might still run one of these. This could work. Ooh, the 3 mana 4/3. Your secrets trigger twice. Commander Risa. Very cool. Very cool. Kind of hard to pull off. I think this is going to be more challenging to pull off. I'm not sure that this is going to get included necessarily. I don't see how this always gets included in the Secret Paladin. Just because, you know, it's early enough though. If this gets played on curve, there's already a secret out. Maybe. I'll say maybe. I'm not sold on it though. Desperate Measure. Cast a random Paladin secret. I know that synergizes with Risa, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm not sold that the secrets themselves have that much power. I think what we've always seen is when there's a lot of secrets, then things can work together. And obviously Avenge was, you know, Avenge was the big thing that made Secret Paladin what it was. I'm still not sold. Maybe though. It's a maybe for me. And hey, what do you know? This synergizes with that dragon I was talking about earlier. Dragon Speaker, Battlecry. Give all dragons in your hand +3/+3. Bad stats for 5 mana. But if you've got dragons, they're going to be getting huge. And then all of a sudden your stats go up. But again, 5 mana, it does so little for the board. This could be tough. I mean, maybe you play that first dragon, the 3 mana on turn 3. Turn 4, you True Silver Champion. Start controlling. Then you drop this. Maybe. Maybe that's a world we can live in, but I doubt it. 5 mana duel. Summon a minion from each player's deck. They fight. They fight. I like that. Yeah, you get a 4 mana 7/7 from the 3/2. That's true. This is cool. More combo disruption. Always good. Always good. I don't know if you're running big paladin. Like, that's how you want to do this. If you only have really heavy minions in your deck, so that you want to win. Like, you want to pull Tyrion with this, right? I don't know, though. I don't know. You want to pull Ragnaros, Sylvanas, Tyrion, but, you know. We'll see. Maybe it's a thing. Light Forged Blessing. Twin spell. Give a friendly minion lifesteal. I feel like this is more of a pack filler. I don't see this being a huge thing right now. We're just going to move on. Is this in the right spot? Have I messed this up? Mysterious Blade. If you control a secret, gain +1 attack. I mean, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that is a pally weapon. Okay, yeah. And the thing is, that is good because we know that Fiery War Axe got nerfed for a reason. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense. That would be good. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, your minion gave your minions +2 health. This is kind of cool. Not going to stop many flame strikes necessarily. But, you know, if let's say I'm trying to polymorph one big minion, they have a couple more still there. Makes things a little more difficult. Yeah, I mean, if aggro's a thing, this one could help. This one could help. And last but certainly not least, another 10 mana 4/12 dragon battlecry. Restore both heroes to full health. Cool. I like this effect. I actually like this effect a lot. It'll be interesting to see how it works. Reno's always a good card to have around. I guess, are there any other ways to discover this? I'm not sure how else we can discover this in other classes, but I like it. Let's move on. Oh my. Onto Katrina Muerte. I'm gonna say that name like that every single time. At the end of your turn, summon a friendly minion that died this game. Ooh, we are gonna get some resurrects. We are certainly getting some resurrects this season. 8 mana 6/8. Sure, it's Kel'Thuzad, but you know, different. And it's just one that's died this game, so you can still kind of build big priest decks, which is kind of cool. I like it. Probably gets played. 4 mana 2/6 Taunt. Death Rattle. Destroy random enemy minion. I also kind of like this one. It's really not the... the stats are a little bit wanting, but at the same time, it's, you know, destroy a random enemy minion. How can that be bad? That's 5 mana. Do we need to do more for 5? Maybe, but that's okay. 2 mana 2/2 Death Rattle. Add a lackey to your hand. We do like lackeys. We've talked about the lackeys. We like the lackeys. We want more. This is one way to get it. You just play a 2 mana 2/2 on curve. Again, there's nothing unfair about this. This is just like good old-fashioned value. And if that's the way that Hearthstone goes, oh, it'd be fantastic, but probably not going to be. Forbidden Words. This was a very early released card. We talked about it for quite a while now. Spend all of your mana to destroy a minion with that much attack or less. Very flexible, which is great for priests. We talked about this, flexibility. And this adds an extra layer of, like, you know, okay, we need to destroy something that's, let's say, 4 attack, 5 attack. We can do a couple other things this turn, but we can't do all of the other things. So it's very cool that way. It adds an extra small layer to your turn decision making. I like it a lot. Hench Clan. We've seen a lot of the Hench Clan. Hench Clan, Shade Quill. Death Rattle, restore 5 health to the enemy hero. So, strongly statted 4 mana 4/7 is certainly better than a Chillwind Yeti. Negative effect in the Death Rattle, but guess what? We've got a lot of silences in our deck. If silence is a thing, I'm not sure that we're even running this one, because I think there's other minions that we can run instead. But that's okay. This was also a card that was revealed reasonably early. 0 mana, Lazul's Scheme. Reduce the attack of an enemy minion by 1 until next turn. Upgrades each turn. Anytime there is a chance for Cabal Shadow Priest to be played in my deck, I like it. And this adds a chance for us to play Cabal Shadow Priest. And steal all of the greatest minions in the game. So I really like this. Obviously, all of these schemes are very bad top decked, because you have to wait multiple turns. So this is something you kind of want to find in the mid game. Wait for a couple turns, combo it with Cabal Shadow Priest, and LOL your way to victory. But we'll see. I hope we're living in a world where I can play that card. 3 mana 3/2 Madame Lazul, hotly debated online, if I recall correctly. 3 mana 3/2 battle cry. Discover a copy of a card in your opponent's hand. How much do people value looking at their opponent's hand? I don't think that highly. However, this is a little better than Chameleos because this is discover and this is all at once and you choose it and it's done, whereas Chameleos rotates and maybe it's not the thing you need now, you need that next turn and it goes randomly. So you can choose the thing because it's discover. And you know what? Most people, your opponent, is usually trying to build a strong deck to beat you. So you just, discover a copy of that card and use it to beat them. So I kind of like it. Up next, Mass Resurrection. Ooh, this is certainly... Uh-oh, the music is higher? Oh, you know why? Because, yeah, that's Reno is spiking in here. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm assuming, yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, Reno has spiked lower than me now. Thank you. Yeah, the League of Explorers menu music. That's okay. Yeah, it's weird. It spikes really high on one of the channels. That's strange. Okay. Okay, so Mass Resurrection. Very cool. This can give you Vargoth, which then plays Mass Resurrection again. Vargoth is legendary, Resurrection is rare, so I like this. I think this is going to get played. Spellstones are gone, but guess what? You always get 3. You get Vargoth. What else do you need? What else is Katrina you're getting? Katrina Muerte, and then one other card. What's the other card you're playing then? We'll figure that out when we get there. There's going to be a bunch of big stuff that we can be playing in Big Priest right now. I like it. I like it. I will play it. 2 mana 2/2 Battlecry. Transform into a 2/2 copy of friendly Death Rattle minion. Whew. There's a lot going on there. Battlecries, Death Rattles, 2/2s, copies. Maybe. Like you use the previous Death Rattle minion to destroy a target, a random one. I don't know. I don't necessarily see this. It's too situational. You don't want to play this on curve. I don't love it. And this is that big activator for our silence decks. Unsleeping Soul. Silence a friendly minion, then summon a copy of it. I like it. This is kind of cool because we have some really strongly statted minions and we can silence them, like Ancient Watcher on 2, and then you silence it, and there's a new 3 in the other 4 drop, so there's a lot of potential for these silence and duplicate effects, which are cool. Moving on to Rogue. I feel like I'm missing a Rogue card. Evil Miscreant. 3 mana, 1/5. That's okay, I guess. Not good stats, but it's stats. Combo, add 2 random lackeys to your hand. 2 lackeys. Fantastic. We love lackeys. This card's going to be fun. This is why I think Lackey Rogue at least potentially could work a little. Heist Baron Toggled Woggled. If you control a lackey, choose a fantastic treasure. Yeah, this probably works. It's 6 mana. You're probably going to find lackeys ahead of time. I hope we open this day 1 so we can play around with them. I don't see how he's going to do that great long run necessarily, but it's fine. What we are very excited about is if we can do some lackeys with another class stuff. 4 mana, 4/3 pirate. It's okay. It's a pirate. Battlecry, discover a spell from another class. Stats are a little weaker than we'd like, but we get that other spell, and it's another Discover, which adds that extra layer. It adds some choices. I like it a lot. I hope we get to play this one. This is Tack. The other legendary 7 mana 6/6, a little wanting. Whenever you shuffle a card into your deck, add a copy to your hand. Very cool, because we know we've got some shuffle mechanics coming on up. Should we take a look at some of them right now? No, because this is the next card alphabetically. Underbelly Fence, 2 mana 2/3. Battlecry for holding a card from another class, gain +1/+1 and rush. Can we get something from another class on turn 1 consistently? Because having a 2 mana 3/4 rush on turn 2 is going to be very, very powerful. Unidentified Contract, destroy a minion, gain a bonus effect in your hand. Challenging. Challenging, but maybe. Vendetta, speaking of destroying minions, deal 4 damage to a minion, costs 0 if you're holding a card from another class. That could be fantastic. This could be a card that could really work with these type of decks. Return a friendly minion to your hand, it costs 2 less. The Waggle Pick. I feel like we're missing a rogue card. Okay, let's just keep going. Let's keep powering through, because my voice is about to crack. Hagatha, this is a scheme that we saw really early. Longer you hold it, the more powerful it gets. Symmetrical board clear, I like it. This is the challenge with all the schemes. You want 5 mana, 5/5 symmetrical removal, right? You want, 5 mana, 4/4 symmetrical removal. Can you really afford to be holding this for the first 3 or 4 turns of the game? If you top deck this in the late game, it's probably going to be bad. If Hagatha gives this to you, it'll be fine because you have so much other value anyways, it won't really matter. Hagatha's scheme coming up next. The Muck Morpher. 5 mana 4/4. Transform into a 4/4 copy of a different minion in your deck. You're gonna have to... You're gonna need to build a deck around this. You're gonna need Death Rattles. We obviously know of 1 Death Rattle, I think. There's definitely some stuff in here that can work with this to activate this. Yeah, like let's say this transforms into Lich King. That's fine getting a 4/4 Lich King. Get that card right away and you're good. Mutate, transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. 0 mana evolve. Very cool. Very, very cool. I like it. And then obviously, yes. Okay, never mind. You know what? Maybe we did Malagos. Malagos is an issue, 100%. But it still has to be in your deck, so not that consistent. But there's still the possibility. 100% there's still the possibility. Sludge Slurper, Battlecry, add a lackey to your hand, overload 1. Ugh. This one's a little tough because it overloads, which we dislike to do on turn 1. But we love to have stuff on board turn 1. And then it's adding lackeys, which is always fun. So this is a tough one for me, just because the overload, I don't love that overload early in the game. I do, however, love Soul of the Murloc. Give your minions Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Murloc. This is kind of cool. And yes, Pyro, yes. Then on turn 2, you do them both. Yeah, you play the 2/1 and the lackey. I understand that. I get it. Soul of the Murloc, kind of cool. I don't know that there's going to be aggro token shaman necessarily. But if it exists, I'm assuming this is going to be a part of it. Because having a sticky board is always, always a good thing. Swamp Queen Hagatha. Add a 5/5 horror to your hand. Teach it 2 shaman spells. Yeah, this is definitely a thing. This came out relatively early, hotly discussed as well. The 2 shaman spells, the Blizzard team has already gone over this in great detail. If you choose one that is targeted, the second one that you discover cannot be targeted. If your first discover is, let's say, Bloodlust, your second option for shaman spells can be targeted and also not targeted. So you have that to be just aware of when you're building your 5/5. The issue is obviously this is slow. Like if this 7 mana 5/5 had a taunt, it'd be a little easier, but this is definitely a very slow play. But like Shaman, oftentimes a very cool play. 2 mana 2/3 Murloc, good stats. After you play a Murloc, add a random Murloc to your hand. Now that is some real value there. You play a Murloc, get a Murloc, you just keep spamming the board. This one's kind of cool. If Murloc Shaman's going to be a thing, this is obviously a big engine in it. Kind of cool. Now, Alakir. What's going on? Alakir has met his match, I believe. Lifesteal Rush, Wind Fury, 8 mana, 4/8, common, Shaman Elemental. Walking Fountain. This one's cool. This is 8 mana, heal for 8, probably eliminate 1 or 2 minions from your opponent's board, and maybe still have a 4 attack, 1 or 2 health minion afterwards. This one's real cool, and it can obviously combo. You can still have one developed already. I still really like that card, just so we're clear. Restore 4 health. Repeatable. Why doesn't it say echo? Alright, moving on to Warlock, because that does not deserve to be talked about if it's not going to have echo on it. 6 mana, 4/6 Demon Taunt. When you draw this, restore 4 health to your hero. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. You're tapping as Warlock, you're tapping, boom, you heal a little. Nice. It also lets your opponent know what's going on, which is a cool part of Hearthstone as well. Arch, Villain Rafam. 7 mana, 7/8 Taunt. Replace your hand and deck with legendary minions. Why can't we get a neutral to do this? I know we've already had the Golden Monkey, but it's just Golden Monkey. I've said this before. Which is cool. I love the Golden Monkey. I love the Elise that we're about to lose in a day or two. It's cool. I love the effect. I hope I open it and can play this for a bunch of fun. Just a little, a little sad that it's not, that type of fun effect is not neutral. 6 mana, Darkest Hour. Destroy all friendly minions. For each one, summon a random minion from your deck. So you build some tokens with spells, you destroy them all, and then you summon big ol' minions from your deck, presenting a powerful board your opponent cannot deal with, and you win. Kinda cool. Is that a staff on his arm? Are we talking about this one or the last one? Who is this? Darkest Hour. Coming up next, the Eager Underling. 4 mana, 2/2. Ooh, Death Rattle. Give 2 random friendly minions +2/+2. If this procs while you have stuff on board, fantastic. If it doesn't, it's horrible tempo loss. Uh-oh. What is this? Oh, there's another copy of it. Weird. Evil Genius, 2 mana, 2/2, Battlecry. Destroy a friendly minion to add 2 random lackeys to your hand. You can destroy the thing that we just played the card before. Getting lackeys, you destroy it, so this gets all sorts of buffs. It can work. We know that Warlock likes destroying its own stuff, so why not? Fell Lord Betrug. 8 mana, 5/7 Demon. Whenever you draw a minion, summon a copy with Rush that dies at the end of turn. That's real powerful. The challenge is obviously going to be, how do you get that out and be able to draw more than just a tap? Because if you can do summoning portal stuff and somehow get this out for cheap and somehow get more draw, that is lovely. Otherwise, it might not be the best. Inferno. Give your demons +1 attack. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Kind of cool. If you're able to have some demons on board, pretty powerful, I think. It's only 1 damage to enemy minions, still affected by spell power. We'll see. Jumbo Imp. We got the demon of the set. I mean the giant of the set, but it's a demon. 10 mana, 8/8, costs 1 less whenever a friendly demon dies while this is in your hand. A little bit more situational, but if you're running a demon style of deck, whether it's zoo or control, this might be in your hand for a while, so this can work. This card certainly works. Plot twist. Shuffle your hand into your deck, draw that many cards, and Pyro already hopped in to chat with the solution. You're right. You play the Fellord Bertrug, and then you plot twist. You shuffle your hand and then draw that many cards, fill the deck, fill the board, clear your opponent's board, and then your demon is sitting there at the end of the turn all by his lonesome. It's cool. And now Reform Scheme. Summon 1/1/1 Imp. Upgrades each turn. Again, a good way to fill the board. If you hold this for the first 3, 4, 5 turns, you're good. If you're top decking it, it's pretty bad. And the last, but certainly not least, we're moving on to the Warriors, starting with Blast Master Boom, 7 mana, 7/7. Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Boombots for each bomb in your opponent's deck. Now, this is also cool. Now, we're gonna see a bunch of mechanics to shuffle bombs into your opponent's deck, some of which can be done on the same turn. I actually like this in a control version of Warrior. I'm hoping we open this. This definitely works with your... I honestly think this works. If you have Mad Genius already... If you have Mad Genius already online and these 1/1 Boombots have Rush, and you can summon a bunch and they start crashing into your opponent, I think this could give people problems. Speaking of problems, Clockwork Goblin 3/3 mech. Shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. When drawn, explodes, dealing 5 damage. This rushes into some minions. Then you play your Dr. Boom. The bots do some rushing. I think it's gonna get played. Yeah, for sure. Maybe not meta defining, but I think it gets played. Some more support here for Big, I believe. Summon 2 copies of a minion in your deck. This is Big Recruit. Big Recruit style warrior. Why not? A little more support for that archetype. Kind of cool. Dr. Boom's Scheme. Gain 1 armor. Upgrades each turn. Get this the first turn. Play it on the 15th turn. It's a bit of armor. Don't hate it, don't love it. I'll run a copy of it just to see how it goes. Improve Morale. Deal 1 damage to a minion. If it survives, add a lackey. Warrior lackeys? Why not? 1 mana. Deal 1 damage. Not destroying something. I'm not as thrilled about this. But it can do stuff. Card I am excited about, however. Omega Devastator. 4 mana, 4/5. If you have 10 mana crystals, deal 10 damage to a minion. This one I really like, especially once you've got Dr. Boom online. Deal 10 damage, remove something huge, then rush this somewhere else. Fantastic. I really like this card. I'm really looking forward to this. Hope we open 2 copies, and we don't have to craft it, because I really want to play that day 1. I think it'll be fun. Sweeping Strikes, 2 mana, give a minion, also damages minions next to whomever this attacks. Well, you know what? Again, Sweeping Strikes. You can sweep the leg here. I think this is probably gonna work. Again, you've got some board clearing ability. You put this on some mechs that are able to rush. I think you can run a copy of it. Vicious Scrap Hound. 2 mana, 2/2 mech. Whenever this minion deals damage, gain that much armor. Again, if this gets magnetized, it's great. If it doesn't, I don't really want to run it. Maybe we would discover this if we already have some magnetized mechs in our hand. Otherwise, not the best. Wrench Caliber. After your hero attacks, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. You can shuffle a couple bombs. Shuffle a couple bombs into your opponent's deck on the same turn and already have one in there that's from the turn before. I think this one can kind of work. I think this can kind of work. Obviously, poorly statted. Fiery Wind Axe used to be 2 mana for these stats, but that's okay. And you know what? That is now all of the cards for the expansion, and we're done our review. And I think that's going to be one heck of a long video. I'll try and edit down some of the drinking and chatting. Otherwise, that's our review of the Rise of Shadows cards. Can't wait for the expansion. Can't wait to be trying them all out on the ladder. And hopefully we will see you there.